What's up guys, welcome to Blake's Garage. We're up here at 034 Motorsports. As you can see, the S3 is on the dyno. You might say, why is it already on the dyno? I thought we were gonna do some dyno tuning today. Well, if you guys have not checked out the first video in this series, we did a stage 1 and a TCU tune on the DSG transmissions. It made great numbers. Go ahead and hit the I up here in the corner and you guys can check out that video. This thing, it made so much more power than stock. I was super stoked. However, it could make a bit more. So we are gonna slap on the downpipe. So I'm gonna show you guys how we do the installation on that. We're gonna pop this thing up on the lift, install it, then we're gonna jump back on the dyno and make some more numbers with stage 2. We got Chris right here. He is gonna be doing the installation on the downpipe. So we're gonna get in there real quick. Why don't you show us what's involved?
So from up top, we're going to have to take the V-band clamp off here, which is going to be an Allen. There's going to be two 13 mil nuts that hold this downpipe to a couple of supporting brackets. The O2 sensor here is going to come out up top. We'll be getting that from up top. And then that's about it for up top, and the rest we'll be doing from down below.
Possibly the drive shaft may have to come off. I guess we'll kind of figure that out.
We'll start with trying to push it to the side, and then if that doesn't give us enough room, we'll just pop it out because it's only a few more bolts.
Awesome, and it's just a bit hot right now.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. We just did dyno pools, so you know, we're doing it at like the peak heat time, so yeah, we're gonna get down to that. I would show you guys deeper in there, but yeah, it's a little bit small of a hole, so you'll get the idea. Chris got this taken out. It's a 6mm Allen for the V-band clamp right here. Two 13 mils for the bottom mounts, which are down here. And then we had to take out a few heat shields. Also, we pulled out the O2 sensor from the top of the downpipe. You're gonna wanna remove that, and it's just easy to just lay it somewhere up top. First thing you're gonna wanna remove under the car is this little shield that's right underneath the downpipe. Now, there'll be two push pin styles where you just kinda use a chingadera tool or whatever you got to pull out the middle, and that will pull out a plastic clip. Two T25s, the T25 Torx are gonna be right here on the side. Once you get that, you can go ahead and just remove this plastic piece and then get up there to the heat shields. Up here, you will actually notice that there is a heat shield over the axle. So you're gonna wanna remove the bolt and get that one out of there. That will come out, and it can just come out through the underneath of the car, kind of like that. Once you get the bolt out, there are two bolts in the back side, as you can see. So that's an 8mm head barrel nut that you will remove. They look like this. And then right above the drive shaft, we have this heat shield right here. On that heat shield, there'll be a 16mm bolt that was also being used with a nut for the heat shield of the axle. If you guys can see right up here at the top, there's a 10mm triple square. You're gonna wanna remove that. Once you get that off, you can go ahead and take that heat shield out that is covering up the drive shaft. Cool. So that's what that heat shield looks like for the drive shaft. As you guys can see, bolt hole there. That's where the triple square went, and then that one right there. Boom. Now for the downpipe down here, you're gonna remove two 13mm bolts on the downpipe. This is just a little bracket that has a rubber insulator to hold the downpipe in place. We're also gonna have this little clamp back here that we need to loosen up at least one side. So before you try to slip out the downpipe, you're gonna want to remove the drive shaft bolts. Those are 12.10mm bolts right there. And you can just remove those, and then the drive shaft will be able to be moved to the side. That will allow more access for the downpipe to come out of the car. So it looks like we're gonna need a bit of a pry bar in here in a second. So Chris is gonna insert a pry bar, and we're gonna get this thing popped off. We went ahead and released the two bolts on the dog bone plate, and what that's gonna allow is the engine to kind of torque a little bit more so we can actually move it a little bit. And that gave it enough room to get that drive shaft over. Now we should have enough room to slip out the downpipe. So this is the fun of it all. As you guys can see, not having this on the lift, I'm not totally sure how you would get that out. It does have a bend coupler, but it all is one piece, so it could be a bit of a pain in the butt. But Chris did a good job.
Thank you.
So what you're gonna have to remove or reuse from the downpipe are these little mounts right here. So spraying a little bit of lube on them is going to help you get them out. There's still going to be a fight, but definitely lube them up before you try it, or else you're going to be battling it forever. As far as the comparison goes on the two different downpipes, the 034 is a cast stainless design up here at the top, and then it's all TIG welded, coming on down to this little flex pipe. We got a great looking little mount, just like the factory style mounts all mandrel bent and welded up nicely with this titanium coating. So as you can see, this is a multi-piece design, so it's going to be a bit easier for Chris to finagle it up in there. Stock catalytic converter is 1,000 cell. This one is 300, and that's going to make the catalytic converter quite a bit smaller, which is going to make it easier to get back up into the car, and it's also going to flow at a higher rate. As you can see, we got the Terpski up there, looking nice. We're going to slap that V-band on and get this thing installed. A top view with the downpipe out. You can see the IS38 right here. You can feel the wastegate right down there. You can see the little flap in there. You can check for in-play if you want to while you have the downpipe off. This one feels great. Feels like it's spinning nicely, which is always good. Just something good to check while you're in there. So Chris just went ahead and shoved that little mount back on there. Make sure you put it in the right orientation. Volkswagen logo up. With this 3-piece design, it's much easier to slip in here. Chris is just reinstalling the V-band clamp right now. So right now he's tightening up the 13mm on the mounting bracket down on the downpipe. After that, we'll go ahead and try to put in the O2 sensor. Once he gets that thing threaded all the way in, we're going to tighten down the O2 sensor up from the top. Using a little swivel ball and an O2 wrench and a extension. We will show you that setup here in a second.
We got a O2 sensor socket, basically a 90-degree socket with a 3/8 impact swivel, so it limits the amount of rotation, and 2 extensions to whatever height you prefer. Just makes it a little bit easier to get the wrench on there with it being this long.
Yeah, that looks good. And then that swivel obviously helps you get around the bends down there at the bottom, right?
Yep.
Extension's just a tad different than we used with the factory downpipe. He went ahead and just took off this one extra extension piece, and that's going to give him enough room to get the torque wrench on it.
Alright.
So we're just rerouting the O2 cable right through there, and we just went ahead and reconnected it right here. That's just an easy way to get it up out of the way so you don't get snagged up while you're trying to get the downpipe out. It's always a good idea to put some of this stuff on there. What is that?
Some anti-seize to help if you ever have to remove that O2 sensor again. It'll just make it a little bit easier for you next time.
Right. I've always had that good luck with that stuff as far as breaking bolts loose afterwards.
Yep.
So
Makes a big difference.
it's definitely a must, especially if you guys live in the East Coast.
Yeah.
You need to do that because chances are you probably already had a tough time getting your downpipe off just because your car is a year old, or maybe 6 months, who knows? That salt kills it. So right now, to get that drive shaft back over, we are gonna use a pry bar. Another way of doing this, guys, if you can't get enough leverage under, is you could remove the whole drive shaft. You could take the rest of the bolts off back here, and you'd have a little bit less of a time. However, you got to take off this cross member for the center bearing, and you'd have to take off all of the heat shield. So this assembly is quite a bit more. If you can get away with it like this, I would recommend it. Now we are putting those dog mount bolts back in. We're going to go ahead and retorque those down to factory spec. That's going to get the engine all set up so it doesn't wiggle around and hop out of the car. After that, we can go ahead and tighten down the drive shaft bolts. Went ahead and reinstalled the bolt for the heat shield right up there. The head of that bolt is a little bit long, and that is because there is a nut that goes on it to secure the heat shield for the axle shaft. So once you get that on, you'll put another nut on and put the axle shaft heat shield on. And now we got to get those 2 nuts on the top to bolt that down. Reinstalled the bolts here, torque this thing down. Downpipe is all in now, O2 sensors in, all that goodness. Dog bone is tightened down. Now we just gotta install this fanciness from here to here and be good to go.
Yes, sir.
Good job, man.
Thank you very much.
Slipping in that mid-pipe piece. So we have this reducer here that goes down from 3" to 2.5" that's gonna slip into the factory mount, or this little coupler right here where it couples together. So this actually lines up pretty dang easy. You just kind of want to get the orientation right, and then we'll go ahead and tighten these clamps down. And you're gonna wanna make this to where it's basically the most level, and obviously it's not touching any of the heat shielding, and it's not touching the drive shaft in any sort of way, because that would probably make a bit of vibration, I'm guessing. We are pretty much finished up. Chris did a great job on this. We went ahead and put the little plastiques back on the car. So it's looking good. Everything's solid. No noises coming out of that thing or anything. So very good job. Nice, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chris did a great job doing this install together. So very cool. Needed a couple times, needed a little bit of an extra hand to get a little bit of pry movement. So I would definitely say 2 people on this installation is gonna be recommended at times. You may just need a little helper. But let's go ahead and fire this thing up and see how it sounds. Alright guys, so as far as the idle goes, the cold start is a bit louder. Right now it sounds really good. It sounds pretty quiet, just a little bit more of a, I would say a little bit more of a throaty noise. We'll hear it when we hear it on the dyno, basically how it changes in sound. I'm guessing it's going to be a bit louder and a bit more throaty, so can't wait to see what kind of power numbers this thing makes. Put down in the comments below what you guys think it's going to make, and let's see. Sounds really good. At idle, it sounds a little bit louder, not super loud. Sounds good, has a nice little raspy sound to it. We are sitting and we are waiting for this flash to go on, for the Stage 2 flash. And we're gonna slap this thing on the dyno. Pretty excited to see what kind of power gains it makes in torque and in peak numbers. The distance between the curve, that's what we're really reading on these dynos. So these are wheel horsepower numbers, guys. This is not gonna be crank horsepower. So if you're wondering, you know, oh, the car makes, you know, 290 stock, well, that's at the crank. That's not actually at the wheels, which is what we are going to be measuring on a Mustang dyno. And by the way, a Mustang dyno is very conservative dyno. So the power output that you see from a Mustang dyno is usually a lot lower than some of the other brands. Dynos are all relative. It's basically a tool for testing. So you're using it for testing purposes for a baseline, and then anything above that, that's where we're gonna show our gains and the delta of the curves in the graph. Very cool. Can't wait to see what this thing does. All right guys, so we got it up on the Mustang dyno. We're about to get the Stage 2 pulls and see how it does. Oh yeah, so that pool sounded much healthier than the previous. I mean, the other one sounded good, but it definitely went through the gears a hell of a lot faster. Just a little update, we are just letting the car cool off a bit, and we're gonna do a couple more runs. It's making really good power. The gains over the whole curve are just amazing. It's just putting down some good numbers. I know this thing is gonna be a night and day difference. I really cannot wait to drive it. Torque on that second run was 293, and then the horsepower was 256 at the wheels, so much better. Here is the difference in the dyno curve between Stage 1 and Stage 2. That bottom line is Stage 1, that top one is Stage 2. Let's take a look at the numbers here. The deltas are crazy amount of difference between Stage 1 and the Stage 2 with the ECU, and even just the base numbers. So base numbers are huge. Let's start out here. So run number 3, what we have down here, we got the stock baseline. For baseline runs, we did, this was completely stock. The car did 234 wheel torque and 222 wheel horsepower. After that, we did the Stage 1, and we added the intake. That bumped the car up to 260 wheel torque and 260 wheel horsepower, which is pretty good because that's like very consistent with the numbers. that go here, as you can see across the board. Then we did the TCU tune and the Stage 2 with the new downpipe, and the car made 288 foot-pounds of torque and 272 wheel horsepower. The one limiting factor on those numbers is definitely the intercooler. The intake temps start getting really, really hot on this car, so a limiting factor is the intercooler. Definitely gonna need to do an intercooler, and it'll probably bump it up another, I don't know, 20 horsepower or so. We'll probably have to come down and slap it on the dyno again just to see what that makes, since it would be the same dyno in the same room. Thanks a ton for watching. Huge shout out to 034 Motorsports. Troy's hanging out over there. He's got a badass TTRS right now. You guys should check out one of those videos. I'll try to link it up here. What did it run?
10.4 at 133.
That sounds like a world record right there. So that's pretty awesome. So anyways, guys, make sure to subscribe. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers this year, so doing that helps a ton. Huge shout out to Nate for tuning the thing, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Later, and wrench on.